What's up, Totem Pole Nation? Welcome back to Lambo and Matt's World of Sports. The NBA All-Star break is basically here, which means that the race for the MVP is coming down to the wire. We've got probably 5 or 6 guys that have a legit chance at getting this thing. We'll get into our favorites. We'll get into the why as well. So as always, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Huge shout out to Sideline Sports Network. And if you want some gear to support the boys, TotemPoleNation.com is scrolling in the ticker below. Let's get into the MVP race right now.
Well, the NBA, all right? Well, as of right now, Nikola Jokic leads the NBA in voting right now to possibly win an MVP for the third time in the past 4 seasons. Joel Embiid was on top, but he is injured, and he won't make that stupid rule, the 65-game mark. I don't know what the hell that is. That's kind of stupid. But he leads the lead as of right now, and then also you have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's at number 2, Giannis at number 3, Luka Doncic at number 4, 5 Kawhi. Jayson Tatum is number 6? Jayson Tatum at 6 is kind of crazy to me. At number 6? Yeah. Oh, no. You got Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, Anthony Edwards, and Kevin Durant. Now, who's the top 5 that has a chance to win it? I'm going to put Nikola Jokic up there. Obviously, Jokic is a great big man. He averages 26 points per game, obviously. His shooting field goal percentage is at 57%. I mean, this guy knows how to rebound. He knows how to pass. He knows how to do everything. I don't really need to get into too much of his stats because of Nikola Jokic. He's been an MVP before. He's won a championship last year. So, what else do we need to say? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for OKC has really, really stepped up. Now, OKC was down, was bad after Westbrook left. When Chris Paul was there a couple years ago, they lifted him up. This team went to the playoffs a couple years back. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander carrying that team on his back. I mean, as of right now, he averaging 31 points a game, which leads 3rd in the league behind Luka and Joel Embiid. So, yeah, put some respect on that man's name. And, of course, Giannis Antetokounmpo, a big man, averages over 30 points a game, obviously. His field goal percentage is always at 60 because, he just drives past and dunks on people, dunks on their head. The only question when it comes to Giannis is free throws. How good can he make his free throws down the stretch when it comes to the playoffs? And, of course, I hate the impact coaching in this, but you have Doc Rivers, and the Milwaukee Bucks have been here, down. So I don't know. I mean, Giannis is getting the points, but they're not winning. They just got blown out like yesterday by 40-something points against a team. But put some respect on my man, Jayson Tatum. Jayson Tatum's played 52 games. He averages 27 points a game. I know he has Jaylen Brown. He has Porzingis. He has Derek White. But, I mean, he's barely missed a game this year. By the way, Nikola Jokic has played 53 games, so that's 1 game up, obviously. But why is Jayson Tatum ranked number 6? Now I understand Kawhi is great and all this other stuff, but I mean, what kind of healthy Kawhi Leonard are we going to see down the stretch? Jayson Tatum is more reliable than Kawhi Leonard. What are your thoughts on this race? If I had to pick an MVP, realistic one, I wouldn't be surprised if Jokic wins again due to Embiid being down. But at the same time, I think Jayson Tatum deserves an MVP this year.
I knew you were going to say that, you Celtics homer. Here is what I'll say. If I had to pick one right now, it's Luka. I don't understand how he's 4 on this. I think this is his year. He's, damn near averaging a 35-point triple-double. He's at, 34.6 points a game, 8.8 rebounds, 9.5 assists. What more can the guy do? He's shooting it at a good clip as always. He's always been a high percentage guy. And, he does have Kyrie on his team, but it's not like he's got all the help that I think a lot of these other.
He doesn't have like that defense. Like the Mavericks don't have really that defense.
Yeah. So, and that's kind of on him as well. But out of this group, whose team do I think probably has the best chance of winning? Jayson Tatum. I think the Celtics are probably my favorite to win the championship. But I mean, Luka as the individual MVP, I think in my eyes, that's the way it should be looked at this point. I can see Jayson Tatum as well. I would maybe bump him up. If I have Luka at my favorite, Shea is probably still at my 2. Nikola would be my 3, and I would probably bump Tatum up to 4 and put Giannis at 5. Because a lot of what you were saying is true. Like, the coaching change is going to have an impact on wins and losses, but at the same time, that can't derail your season. Yeah, M2Ks with me, Luka MVP. I'm with you. But that can't derail your season. You can't just start losing games with a coaching change if it's still, Giannis and Dame out there running the show. Like, how much is really changing?
A lot. A lot from the Bucks standpoint. They don't look good.
I guess so if it's just going downhill the way it is. I feel like, after the All-Star break, they'll be able to reset and get a run into the playoffs going. I don't want to sleep on the Bucks at all. But I would not put Giannis ahead of those 4 in the MVP race as of right now. And that's no shit against Giannis. He is averaging the second most points per game in the league. Like, I understand. Like, he's obviously one of the best players in the world. I just think Luka is playing better than everybody this year.
And do you think if Embiid doesn't get hurt, do you think Embiid is still ahead of Jokic if he does not get hurt?
Yeah. He was on the best run of his career, which is insane to say because he just won MVP last year. I think he was going to go back-to-back if he played the full season. Unfortunately, got knee surgery. He should be back for the playoffs, which I'm excited that he'll be back for sure, but the team is different now. Since he's played, we have, Buddy Hield is there now. Kyle Lowry is now your point guard. Pat Bev isn't there anymore. We've, Tyrese Maxey's really the one constant in, what he's going to be playing with night in, night out, outside of those rotational guys. There's only one constant left, and that's Tyrese Maxey. So how quickly will that adjustment go with the new roster or new lineup? We'll see. I don't think it should be too far. Pass the man the ball should be the game plan. So I do think that he would still be the number 1 candidate.
And are you shocked that Steph Curry is not on this list? And I know the Warriors have been I know he's the greatest shooter of all time, but the Warriors hadn't been there. Like, Klay Thompson has been off. Draymond came back from suspension. They've won, obviously, the past 2 games, but are you surprised that Steph Curry is not on here? And I'm not saying he deserves to win it or doesn't deserve to win it, but having Steph Curry not on here, despite them struggling, Steph Curry still averaging 28 points a game.
Yeah, and he's getting his 5 assists, which is what we just talked about, earlier. I don't know, man. I don't think it's to shit on him or anything because he's still obviously, he's leading the league in 3-point shots. No surprise there. He's shooting the 3 at 42%, and he's played in 49 games. So I'm not shitting on him by any means. I just don't know if I would put him above Kawhi. Kawhi's second or third in the league in 3-point percentage, and he's actually putting them up. He's scoring at a, crazy high rate. It's just Kawhi is, kind of doing his sneaky little seasons that he always does where it's like, damn, Kawhi's kind of been boring this year. Then you look at the numbers and you're like, oh shit. You forget that this guy's like an MVP caliber guy. So it's just, I don't know if I'm putting Steph over them this year just because the Clippers are one of the top 3 teams that you can see going to the finals from the West, right? So
the Timberwolves are number 1 seed right now.
Yeah, and then obviously you have to have the Nuggets in there, and then you could also put the Timberwolves in there if you wanted to as well. They're playing out of this world. So I think those 4 teams, including the Clippers, are the ones that you are probably going to see out of the West. So unless you're putting up a damn near 35-point triple-double like Luka is, I don't really think that you're going to be in that top 5 MVP talk just because it's a little bit of fatigue as well. It's same thing with LeBron. LeBron could have won like probably 6 MVPs if they actually went off just pure stats.
Yes.
And that's just not how it goes all the time. So Steph doing amazing things from the 3-point line, still leading the league in 3-point makes.
But his team is like
it's not going to sway the voters as much. Exactly. If they're not winning all these games and he's doing what he's been doing, it's not going to sway the voters as much as it would have before. Like 28, 7-7 almost every year, like for LeBron. Almost every year, including what he used to do on defense, he could have been the MVP. And it's just not how it went because you expect 28, 7-7 out of him. So it's like, okay, you did what you did, but this guy over here did something cool and new, so let's give the award to him. So I'm not saying that Steph should win it this year. I just feel like in the eyes of voters, it's not going to sway as much as it used to.
Last thing, do you think that what do you think the MVP is based off of? Do you think it's based off winning or is it based off fancy stats? What do you think the MVP race is based off of?
I would like to think that it's a good combination of both. I mean, not to bring up LeBron again, but the 2020 season when Giannis won, I thought that there was a very, very good chance that LeBron would win the MVP that year. The stats were, lining up. It just looked perfect for it, right? But the better team when it came to record was the Bucks that year. And Giannis won. And he also won the Defensive Player of the Year as well. So, that I feel like tells you that the record does have a pretty good impact on it because I think statistically you could have picked Bron that year. Now going outside of that, last year Joel won it. The Nuggets had a better record, but his stats were, I feel like, significantly better. It was people argue about it. People still think that Jokic should have won it last year. That's fine, whatever. But you go to the year before that, and Joel had led the league in scoring again in that year. But Jokic's team was better, and he had more all-around stats than just Joel scoring. They gave it to him that year. So I feel like every year you could pick an example of both, stats and winning and point it at the thing, except for kind of last year because the Nuggets were definitely a better team than the Sixers.
Well, we'll see who wins the MVP when it hits April, when it hits May. We'll figure it out. We'll see if it's fair. We'll see if it's not fair. But like I said, let the best man win. This is it for Lambo and Matt's World Sports. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and Topo.